Welcome, viewers, to the latest edition of Casino Life and Sports Betting Operator TV. My name is Peter White, and I'm the publisher of this media. Today, we're lucky enough to have Simon Thomas, Executive Chairman of the Hippodrome Casino London. Welcome, Simon.
Hello, good afternoon. Actually, good afternoon from our new roof terrace here in the Hippodrome. There's a few people in the background having a beer, but that's what we're here for, to entertain people.
Fabulous backdrop, and the iconic chariot.
Absolutely, that's actually one of my projects for the future. I've got to have a dinner party in there. I'm just going to work out health and safety issues. But we'll get there.
You might get one of those chariots and ride in through the archway one day into the main casino floor.
A good publicity stunt. We've done worse.
Oh, well, I could see you in the, gladiator outfit. Anyway,
thank you. My comms director Ian Ideas, he'll be picking up on that one.
Okay, well, I guess I know you've got a very busy schedule ahead of you, so I'd like to kick off with the first question, which is at the time of this interview, which is the 11th of March, where is the Hippodrome in its journey back to full operational capacity?
We have to say we're doing pretty well. We actually view this more not as a journey back, but actually a journey forward. We're at the start of a new journey. We've weathered COVID. We've actually come out of it very well. We've used the time successfully, and I'll tell you more about what we've been up to later. But it's been a good period for us in a really perverse way. It's almost been a time for a strategic review that we weren't planning to have, and an opportunity to do a lot of work that we didn't think we'd be able to do, and a few other projects that have fallen into our lap. So we are on a start of a new journey to make this place even better, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, for those viewers that are not familiar with the Hippodrome, could you explain this iconic entertainment venue?
I could try. I think the best way of seeing it, understanding it, is come six. It is quite extraordinary. It's in a building which is steeped in entertainment history. It opened in 1900 as a circus, hippodrome, horse track, dwarfs diving from a ceiling 60 foot high into a big water tank, elephants, seals, sea lions, giants, pygmies, Charlie Chaplin, Houdini, you name it, it was happening here. It then turned into a music hall, but it would have like the English premiere of Swan Lake, the first jazz ever played in the country, through to the Folie Bergère female topless review, and obviously with our Magic Mike show, we've done a Me Too twist even on that. Then it was turned into a venue called Talk of the Town. Think Stevie Wonder, Sammy Davis Jr., Ella Fitzgerald, Tom Jones, Cliff Richard, Judy Garland, and all of the stars of that era performing here to 800 people, having dinner and drinks. Then Peter Stringfellow turned into Stringfellow's nightclub, and it was the best club in the UK in the 1980s, so in the 90s, pretty rubbish in the noughties, and then it lost its alcohol license. And why do I dwell on the history? It has an amazing pedigree. The location is phenomenal. It's on the busiest corner in Europe. It's above one of the busiest tube stations in England. It is on a crossroads of the West End, Chinatown, Soho, Museum District, Whitehall. So everybody comes past it. So that gave us a great platform to build from. And we spent 3 years getting planning and permits, 3 years rebuilding, and opened it nearly 10 years ago in July 2012. And we've been, to be honest, developing it and improving it ever since. And currently we've got 78,000 square feet of fun spread over 7 floors. We have 2 or 3 casino areas, some really fantastic Poker Stars poker rooms. We've got our theatre with Magic Mike Live, one of London's top theatrical shows. We actually just went past 1,000 performances this week. We've got the Helio Steakhouse, which is, well, it's been voted the best steakhouse in London. You've eaten there. The steaks are phenomenal. There's nothing worse you can possibly ever do than overpromise and underdeliver. I will tell you, our steaks are delicious. And then we've got 8 bars, soon to be 10 bars. We're even expanding now as we speak. And I'm on the top terrace of which is something we added on during lockdown, and has proved to be very popular. And even on a grisly day like this, you can hear it starting to get busy on a Friday evening.
Yes, indeed. I mean, leadership isn't easy, especially on such a multifaceted type of building you've got there with all the various, as you've described, elements to it. What is your approach been?
Well, leadership, it's people, employing the right people, and cascading down, but also employing the right people at the bottom and cascading up. We have, for example, a very simple philosophy on a simple filter on recruitment. We only employ people who smile during their interview. And we don't tell them that at the start, but if you can employ happy people, they're cup half full people. They're people who find solutions, not problems. And so at one end we're doing that, but then we take our induction process. I will meet every person that comes into this business alongside my CEO, CFO, and CBO. We will have a session during the induction process, just explaining the ethos of the business and where we've come from, where we're trying to go to. And it sets the example and sets the standards well. And then at the top end, we have some fantastic operators, all experts in their own field, be it hospitality, bar, restaurant, entertainment, poker, and they are given quite a lot of latitude to perform and work together extremely well as a team.
Oh, okay. Well, with this next question, and it's like a turn the clock back 12, 13 years, possibly more. When did the Hippodrome first gain your attention, and what in you prompted that level of risk taking?
Yeah, it's a multifaceted response to that happened. It's actually funny. Often when I get asked if I could turn the clock back, it's if I knew now what I know, would I have done it again? And I can't honestly say that I would. It's an incredible journey, and it's been pretty brutal at times, and it has tested a lot of resolve. But we have got there, which is what's important. But roll back to when we started this project, 2005. I had a very interesting bingo hall business, and bingo and casino were all governed by the same 1968 Gambling Act originally, and they weren't allowed to promote, have live entertainment, alcohol on the gaming floor. You had to be a member for 24 hours before you could walk in. And bingo was deregulated in the early 90s when I was involved for the first time. And I took bingo from really a converted cinema with 300 old ladies playing housey housey for a fiver, through to Cricklewood, which probably still is the biggest bingo hall in the country. 2,700 seats, 3 bars, 2 restaurants, 2 cabaret stages, wedding license, cinema license, 265 slot machines, and so on. It was actually more like an international casino than British casinos were allowed to be. So I'd learned how to use deregulation across gaming. The 2005 Gambling Act was going to be bad for bingo. It was quite clear bingo had gone too fast too quickly and was going to be pushed back a bit. The smoking ban was coming up, which was not going to be good for bingo. And I managed to successfully sell the bingo business in 2006. But the other side of the Gambling Act was it was going to give casino all the freedoms that I'd learned how to use: deregulation, entertainment, being able to advertise, promote, and not having to have be a member, etc. So it wasn't a massive jump, leap of faith to think I can turn that onto casino. Casino, there'll be a lot of operators who know how to do casino but don't know how to do all the other disciplines. And I could buy in the casino expertise. I was very lucky to work with a man called Peter McNally, who's probably forgotten more about casinos than I'll ever know. And together we set off down this journey. We found this property, which timing was perfect. It had just lost its alcohol license. The council were desperate for it not to go back to being a nightclub again. And so they were really supportive. It was in a mess, the building. So it needed somebody who was well funded and able to take it on. And so a lot of stars came into line, I like to think, and the rest is history.
Excellent. Well, it's one thing to talk about bold moves, and when things are going well, but how did you cope when hit by what was 100 year, 1 in 100 year global pandemic? I mean, the place was shut down. It must be losing millions a week. How did you cope?
We were losing about £1 million a month, even with all of the government support. I think, like everybody else, stage 1 was panic. oh my God, here we are. We've got a couple of £1 million a month overheads, and we've got no income. The government have shut us down. We are going to go bust. And that was a pretty horrendous initial period. When we opened the building in 2012, it was awful, to be honest. We'd opened a big empty building on a very busy corner with a product people didn't know, and a lot of staff that were fantastic but didn't know how to work together, a lot of systems untested. And I had 8-9 months of sleepless nights. And I never wanted to go back into that again. And when COVID hit, bluntly, it was back into sleepless nights. It was all of my dreams about to go get trashed by the situation. But stage 1, panic. Stage 2, go to a simple philosophy that we have adopted many times in this business, which is, got a problem, find a way or make a way, because walk away is not an option. So it was contain the situation, make sure we've got cash. And we had a really good relationship with our bankers, landlord, and all the other stakeholders, because we have been operating quite successfully for 6-7 years at this point. I think if this had happened year 1, it would be a completely different situation. But we managed to ensure we had cash ready to face the challenges. Government then started kicking in with furlough support. So we actually realized that we weren't going to go bust. There was a way out of this. Next stage for us was communication. We got a lot of people that were scared, the staff. So we had a very successful communication program with our staff. And then next, our customers, we had to keep them enthused and alive, which was great fun, actually, in hindsight. We had all sorts of virtual pubs. We had our very own Yanis and Salvo, which are like the Ant and Dec of hospitality, doing live broadcasts from their kitchens, doing cookery demonstrations. And we had a huge engagement program with customers and staff. And then I think it was more interesting. We hit the point of thinking, okay, let's look at this from an entrepreneurial and opportunity point of view. Here we are, we're shut. We're normally open 24/7. And there's got to be a lot of stuff that we're able to do now that we would not be able to do when we're open. And this roof terrace is a perfect example. We added a 5th floor onto the building. Putting even the lift shaft through when we're open would have been a nightmare. But we had the opportunity, so we took it. We also completely refurbished our poker rooms. We moved one of the casino areas. We've got a brand new area we call the Gods. We put some big holes through the building that weren't ordinarily there, but weren't there before, which gave us more connectivity in the building. We did a lot of future proofing on our plants and equipment while we're shut. We may as well replace some of the stuff. And then we started looking for sort of what other opportunities there were. And there are 2 shop units on the front of the Hippodrome on Cranbourne Street, which we'd never managed to get hold of. They were trading really well as selling sort of half-price tickets and London merchandise. And of course, they went bust during the lockdown. So we finally managed to get hold of them. And it's given us a great opportunity. We are currently, it'll be finished in about 3 or 4 months' time. We'll have a completely redesigned front of the building, the whole of the frontage. We will have a bigger Baccarat lounge. Stage 1's done, stage 2's coming. We will have a cafe actually out onto the street with cafe tables, selling sort of crepes, cocktails, champagne. And underneath them in the basements, we'll have a new Chinese restaurant and also a secret bar, which is just going to be quite cool. So we pushed up to 10 bars, 2 restaurants, much better street frontage. And it was all an opportunity that came out of the COVID 1 in 100-year experience.
Wow. So, I mean, with ICE London a matter of weeks away, will you be able to operate kind of like a tour for, other operators who are visiting from mainland Europe and internationally, maybe to...
absolutely. I love showing people around. I get, it's really funny because it's nearly 10 years old and people sometimes say, how do I stay so enthusiastic? I get an amazing vicarious pleasure when I take people around the building because they get the, oh, wow moment. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. It's like a cross between Aladdin's palace and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, with lots of different stuff happening in different parts of the building. Yeah. So yeah, and anyone's around. I do love ICE, but I normally by Thursday I can't speak because I've just been chatting. It's just because we're kind of at ICE during the day and then here in the evening until the early hours, and it's quite brutal, but it's a lot of fun.
What would you say though to viewers at run operate casinos around Europe and internationally that post-pandemic, although things are getting back to normal, they're still a bit hesitant about traveling to London and traveling to the ice show. What would you say to them as to, you know, should they attend ice or?
Yeah, that's a good question. I travel quite often around Europe, and I find it fascinating how far behind the UK a lot of countries are. We're still some with sort of curfews, restrictions, mask mandates, whatever. I think when I speak to people in London, they say, God, it is such a relief to be in a normal country where you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, with no restrictions. So if anyone's hesitant about coming, A, don't be, and B, look forward to coming to a place where you can just act normally and be normal. We're well past COVID here.
Excellent. With back to the actual Hippodrome itself, obviously times are changing and that the cost of living is being hit with everyone worldwide. How is the Hippodrome reacting to that, given the fact that, you know, it looks like in the months ahead, people's fun time money is going to be reduced? What can you offer to those?
It'll probably play into our strengths, to be honest, because we offer amazing value for money entertainment. You can come here and have an incredible evening out, far cheaper than you would. The restaurants are really good value. The bars are pretty good value. They're sort of competitive. We don't really want to just attract people for cheap booze. Our show is amazing, and the gambling you can do from 25p a chip, so on the electronic roulettes. So it is an amazing value for money experience. So I think it'll play to our strengths.
Okay. One aspect of the Hippodrome's growth is its workforce. How have you integrated all the new people into the organisation post-pandemic?
It's interesting. We've actually maintained the absolute core team the whole way through without any problem whatsoever. In fact, when we opened nearly 10 years ago, we started with 400 staff, and we're now recognising people's 10th anniversary with the business. And by July, I'll have 70 people who've worked here for over 10 years out of the original 400, which is pretty impressive in anybody's business. But during lockdown, we had to make some redundancies. We also lost some people who went back to their home country or changed their career choice. And we went from 750 down to 550 employees, and we're already back to 650. And it's quite interesting. There's a lot of businesses are complaining about how challenging it is to get employees, whatever. We're just about back to where we want to be. Very few open positions, because I think people appreciate what we do and enjoy working here. In terms of the integration, because we've got the bulk of people already just maintaining, it's just bringing in the right people, inducting them properly. As I said earlier, we choose people very carefully, and we've got very good management who make sure that they fit in and perform. So it's been a little tough, but it's okay.
Well, and finally question, how can viewers find out more about the Hippodrome? And for those whom are yet to walk in, what is your message to them?
Well, if you haven't been, it's very simple. Obviously, social media, website, it's pretty comprehensive, but nothing replaces the experience of coming here. And just come in, walk into the building and start exploring, because you can go anywhere in the building. It is huge. We have people, it's tiny by American standards, but huge by British standards. We have people that come in every day who've been walking past this building going, you know, I've always been curious, and now I'm in, oh my God, why haven't I been here before? And then it's just better and better as you walk through. And the great thing with the building is we're always changing. So if you were here 2 years ago and you come again now, there's a whole load more stuff to see. And as you know, we've got a gambling review at the moment. And if the gambling review delivers what I think it should do, which is a bit of not just regressive, putting a bit of control on online gaming, but extra freedoms for the offline casinos. And on the asks we have are fairly modest, which are mainly modernization. We're still limited on number of slot machines to 20, which is ridiculous in a place the size of this. So I think we will finally get relaxation on that, and some freedom to have some more electronic versions of table games, and that'll give us even more opportunities to make the place bigger and better. So come and have a look. You're all very welcome.
Thank you very much for your time, Simon, today, and we look forward to catching up with you a bit later in the year.
Brilliant. Look forward to seeing you soon, Peter. Take care.
Take care.